Hello, luxury real estate agents. Today we're going to talk about part 2 of my 7 steps for handling objections. As you recall, we discussed last week how many times an objection can be a question, a concern, and often a reflexive action that people take when they feel under the stress of a sales situation. So we talked about the first 3 steps, which are to pause, repeat, and acknowledge the objection. If you haven't seen this first video, go back to my blog, jackcotton.com, and look for Objections Part 1 so you can watch this video and get the explanation of these 3 steps. Step number 4 is to isolate the objection. Remember last time I gave you the analogy of the game at the arcade where those little moles pop up and you whack them with a hammer as fast as you can. Well, if you don't isolate an objection, you will get more objections as you handle each one in turn. For example, if you get a commission objection, you handle it. Next is going to be a contract length objection. Then there's going to be your company's not big enough objection. Then there's going to be you're not advertising enough objection. So you always want to isolate the objection so that when you handle the one you have at hand, you know that you're all done. Case is closed. An example would be, so Mrs. L, other than the commission, if we can come to terms on that, you're okay with everything else. Or other than the length of the contract, you're okay to move ahead on everything else. So always isolate the objection so you know exactly what you're dealing with. By the way, this is especially true with home inspections. This is why when I have a home inspection at one of my listings, I always want a punch list of what the buyer is looking for, because if they come back and say, well, the windows on the second floor need to be replaced, and then the seller agrees to do that, then they'll come back and say, well, we also think the front door has some rot and that needs to be replaced. Then you get that fixed, and they come back and say, well, we think that it goes on and on and on. So you always want to isolate the objection, just like you isolate items in a punch list from a home inspection, so they're contained. Step number 5 is to deal with it. Now you're finally ready to deal with the objection. If you were to sign the contract anyway and move out in June, how would you take care of your contents that you have to store? Offer solutions, deal with the objection, come up with evidence as to how the objection, is unfounded. Talk about the value proposition of your commission. People see commissions as a cost or a toll on the highway to get in their house sold. You have to convey to people that you actually bring value, that you're not a cost. So deal with the objection. We can talk more about that another time. Step 6 is to move on. It says here, change the subject. By the way, have you thought about what kind of boat you're going to get to put out front here? Or by the way, have you thought about whether you're going to do the French doors off the family room overlooking that beautiful view out there? So move on. And then number 7 is to close. Let's talk about the paperwork. Come on, close the deal, get the contract signed. So those are the 7 steps to handling objections. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions or concerns, send me an email to jack@jackcotton.com. And don't forget, if you buy my book, you get some free downloads worth $100 that come with the book. Many of those I've covered in previous blogs as to how they can help you in your real estate business be more successful and more effective and more efficient. You also get a $400 consulting call with me. It's a great way to get a one-on-one consultation to get your most burning luxury real estate question answered. Here's a copy of the certificate that comes with every book sold. Well, until next time, make it a great week, and look forward to talking next time.